So, I'm standing here right at the corner of Wall Street, Nassau, and this is an incredibly important spot in American history. You will see that just off to the right here, that's George Washington, and this spot is where George Washington took the oath of office as the first president of the United States of America. And what's so compelling is you look over here just a couple hundred yards away is another building. That is the New York Stock Exchange. You know, the operating thesis that I'm playing with right now is that what happened there in the New York Stock Exchange and what happened in these buildings all around us is going to lead to the downfall of the United States of America. The economic circumstance that exists for most Americans right now is absolutely terrifying, and frankly the economic picture of the United States of America and in fact the whole world is very, very scary. It's compelling that right over there you see the EU flag flying right there, right below that beautiful Tiffany's flag. And just down there a couple yards is Deutsche Bank, just past Donald Trump's building there. But the thing that's most compelling about all of this is the epicenter of the American financial system, in fact the world financial system. And what occurred right here in this spot, just around there from the New York Stock Exchange and all these buildings around, there's an absolute destruction of basic American values and a breakdown in the American legal system and financial system. While everyone was watching, frankly, we can't say that no one was watching. While everyone was watching, the people that operate in these buildings all around us cheated, stole, committed gross acts of fraud and abuse, and frankly, financial treason and tyranny. And none of them have been held accountable. And one of the things that's most disturbing is that the lawyer class, those citizens who took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, not nearly enough lawyers have stood up and said that people must be held accountable. And in fact, that's the problem that exists in this country today. The lawyers that do dare to stand up and say that we're going to fight for citizens, we're going to fight for basic rights and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, are abused and held to sanction and persecuted by a legal system that should be protecting and should be raising up and supporting those attorneys, those advocates, those citizens that are out there that are fighting. You know, as we sit here today on January 1st, 2012, on a day when this President Obama, has taken the most aggressive stand to destroy the Constitution by signing into law the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, which allows for the first time the indefinite detention of American citizens. Every single one of us needs to stand up and recognize just what this world is going to be like when people have failed to stand up and fight for basic rights and say that they will fight for the First Amendment to protect and to defend people's rights to stand up and speak and protest government, that they will fight to protect due process and make sure that we have access to a court system and a court system that's well funded and that protects basic rights, and that we have a right to be safe from unlawful searches and seizures. As most of you know, the banks and institutions all across this country have decided that they have the right to kick down the doors of your property whenever they care to, in direct violation of constitutional rights against searches and seizures. And unfortunately, our court systems are not fulfilling their responsibility in upholding due process and protecting citizens from these abuses, and telling the banks and institutions, with headquarters right here on this Wall Street, that they're not going to be allowed to abuse the rights of citizens. So I can only think that today this President, George Washington, who took the oath of office right there behind us, is rolling in his grave to see what's happened to this country that he and others fought so bravely for. It's my hope as we move into 2012 that citizens will finally wake up, that lawyers all across this country will defend those citizens and stand with them and start fighting to protect those basic things that this man, when he took that oath of office so many years ago, fought for. That's George Washington there. I hope that every one of us will be more like him, courageous, and start defending this country instead of laying back and watching TV and being passive participants in this democracy.